Morning routine. So if you've been watching my videos, you know I study 8 languages each and every day: Spanish, German, Japanese, Mandarin, Chinese, Korean, Teochew, which is the Chinese language, Arabic, and Sanskrit, as well as some other languages like French and Italian, Swedish, Polish. But I wanted to talk today about my morning routine because some of you have been asking about it. The first thing is it begins the night before. At 8 p.m., I put my phone into the drawer of my desk and I turn off my computer. So at 8 p.m., after 8 p.m., I don't look at any screens. Usually what I do is I read a book and I meditate for about 45 minutes. And then I take a shower and then I go to sleep. So I can't emphasize enough just how important it is to go to sleep at the same time every night, and preferably at an early time. But at the same time every night is so important because I've been going to sleep around 10 p.m. for the last couple of months, trying it out. And it really has done a lot to help me with my studies, my focus, my ability to get things done. However, I noticed that this past Wednesday, I went to New York with my friend Wenqi and her friends Yuxuan. And basically we went to a K-pop concert at an arena in New York. The name of the group is G Idol. Maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't. If you haven't, their most popular song is called Queen Card. I'll link to that in the description if you want to check it out. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, I wanted to go to this concert, and so I broke my usual bedtime of 10 p.m. and I didn't get back from New York until around 1 or 2 a.m. But it was worth it because who doesn't want to be in an arena full of thousands of screaming girls? So I thought it was worth it, and I want to live life, so it's worth it to break your schedule sometimes. However, I did notice that for a few days after that, I definitely wasn't at my peak in terms of learning, studying, being productive, working, writing. I just was not at my top performance. So I went on, let me think, Wednesday is now Saturday that I'm filming this. And although I've recovered a bit, I'm still not 100% there. So I feel like I had to sacrifice maybe 3.5 days just to go to this event. That being said, I do think it was worth it, but you have to keep in mind that if you do activities like that, you have to balance out the consequences with your study time and your ability to be productive. So that's just something to keep in mind and to kind of calculate when you're making these decisions. Okay, so what do I actually do in the morning after I wake up? So as I already said, my phone is in the drawer of my desk. So when I wake up, I don't just look at my phone. Actually, I don't even know what time it is because I only have a very small analog clock on the other side of the room. But my eyesight is so poor and I don't have my contact lenses in, I can't read the clock from where I am in bed. So in order to see what time it is, I actually have to get up and walk across the room to see the time. So basically what I'm trying to say is I don't have an alarm clock. I don't wake up at any specific time. I just wake up when I naturally wake up. And the first thing I do is I sit down at my desk in my bedroom and I write my dreams that I had that past night into my dream journal. And I find that this practice of writing my dreams every night actually helps me to remember my dreams more because I know I'm going to have to recall them to write them down so they don't just, vanish as soon as I start to wake up. So after I've written my dreams down, usually I go downstairs, and the first sort of real activity I do for the day is I meditate for 45 minutes. And a lot of people ask me, what do you do when you meditate? Basically, I sit there and I do one of a few things. Sometimes I focus on my breath. I just try to keep bringing my attention back to my breath. Even if there are distracting thoughts, I just move it back to the breath. Recently, I've started to cultivate metta, because who doesn't like to just feel pleasure for no reason? I've also recently begun to contemplate or meditate on everything being empty, not in a nihilistic way, but in the way that everything is sort of an illusion and doesn't have an inherent existence. By the way, if you want to know a good book for that, I recommend the book Freeing That Seas by Rob Berbea. Thank you to my good friend Mike for recommending this great book. So I think meditation is actually really important, because no matter what the activity is that I'm doing, just sitting and clearing my mind or focusing my mind or not really engaging my mind in the normal activities of the day allows my mind to get ready for the studying that's going to come in a little bit that I'll talk about. But it gets me into a good headspace to begin the day. I think a lot of people, when they wake up, they just immediately get on their phone. And this can be problematic, because sometimes the material on your phone can be distressing, it can be upsetting, it can be stimulating in a bad way. And especially when you're just waking up and you're moving from sleep into a wakefulness, that area of consciousness is very susceptible to what you impress upon it. So my recommendation is, don't look at your phone right when you wake up. Maybe you want to look at it after you wake up. Maybe it's not the first thing you do, but maybe you get out of bed first, walk across the room, and then look at it. That would be at least a little bit better than looking at your phone while in bed. So once I've meditated, then I exercise, and I do weightlifting. I do one exercise of weightlifting. And at this point, I also allow myself to get my phone out of my desk. And when I look at the phone, I just look at the notifications to see how many messages I have from my friends, from who, about what, also if there are any vital work messages that have come up. And then I put the phone down and I do a workout. I just do one exercise. I either do bench press in my basement, or I do Arnold press with some weights, or I do squats. So I do one of these three. I used to do 3 sets of 8 reps, but recently I've just been doing 1 set to failure. And I just do that, and it gets some exercise into me. I used to do around 20 minutes of exercise bicycle, which I may go back to. I'm still experimenting, as always. This isn't like a set routine. I'm always adding and taking things away. So I do want to think about maybe getting exercise bike in, or maybe taking a walk or something like this. So after I've meditated for 45 minutes, I've exercised. Now I get my breakfast and I begin studying as I have my breakfast. So the breakfast that I have is, I'm not sure what to call this, but it's a ready to eat drink, like a ready meal drink called Huel, Huel. And basically it's a drink, it's 400 calories. It only has maybe 1 or 2 grams of sugar. I wish I had no grams of sugar, but sugar's in everything these days. But at least it only has a couple of grams of sugar. It has a lot of protein in it. It has some vitamins in it. It's 400 calories. But more importantly, it's very easy, and I like that. I just grab one from my refrigerator, I open it, and then I can drink it. Plus, it's not heavy, and I think it being a liquid helps me to not put a lot of energy to digesting, and because it doesn't have a lot of sugar, I'm not putting sugar into my system at that rate. So as I drink the Huel, and I'll link to Huel if you want to check it out and try it in the description. But then I study languages for 1 hour, and I study in 15-minute chunks. So again, this is always changing. What I decide to study and what the activities are change over time. But recently, what I've been doing is I study Arabic for 15 minutes, then I study Sanskrit for 15 minutes, then I study Arabic for 15 minutes, and then I study Sanskrit for 15 minutes, and that gives me the full hour. And that's because right now, Arabic and Sanskrit I'm trying to focus most intensely on, mostly because I take classes for these in the Language Academy with Professor Arguez. So I want to have a high level in these languages. So I start the day off with these first when I'm at my freshest, when I'm at my best, and I'm not tired or anything like that. So the activities that I do when I study Arabic and Sanskrit are mostly going through Anki flashcards. Basically, I go through my decks that I have for these languages, and I do the reviews. I do the reviews that are up for that day. You know, Anki prioritizes which flashcards to show you on which day based on how well you know the cards. So I do the reviews that are up for that day. If I do all the reviews for the deck, which is quite often, then I start learning new cards or new words from my Anki deck that are sitting in the unknown pile and are there available to be learned. And so I spend the rest of the time learning new words. And if there are no new words in the unknown pile, then I spend my time mining for new words. So what that involves is basically reading Arabic stories, going through my Sanskrit textbook that we're using, and basically I'll use something like Link, which helps me get the words and the sentences they appear in and makes Anki flashcards with them. I'll link to that in the description as well. Or I use Google Lens with this book, and basically I use Google Lens, which is an app on the phone that you can basically scan foreign language text like this, the Devanagari, and then it'll input it. You can copy and paste it into your desktop. And so I put that text into ChatGPT and tell it to make me a spreadsheet, which I can then import into Anki as flashcards, which I then study. So that's kind of the process I go through. Once I've done 1 hour of study, I open myself up to other tasks because I do have other responsibilities. I have work, I'm writing books, I'm doing other things with my life. So I do open to other tasks, but I'm interspersing these tasks with 15-minute chunks of language study. And so I continue to study throughout the day. But basically, once I've reached this point, I write a to-do list, and I don't know, it just feels good to be able to cross things off the to-do list. I feel it's very motivating, and it helps me remember what I have to do for the day, as well as keep me on track for everything I need to do, because there's so many things I need to do in a day. I literally have 10 to 15 items, and I just can't keep that in my mind at one time or think about what I should do next. So a to-do list is actually quite helpful. Also, the morning time, I live in Philadelphia, which is the east coast of the US. So the morning time is nighttime in East Asia. And so I like to talk to my friends in East Asia. If I don't message her, usually they'll message me. And I'm sometimes conflicted about this because sometimes I don't want to talk. I just want to study or write my books. It just feels really good to study sometimes, and I don't want to talk to anyone. But I try to prioritize my friendships because I think having friendships is very important to a healthy life and having a community. I think we evolved to have interpersonal relationships. And if you're not prioritizing these human relationships in your life, you might not feel the best that you can feel. And so, yeah, it's very rewarding to have friendships with a wide variety of people and to be able to talk with a lot of people, including my friends in East Asia. So I talk with them in the mornings as well. I also do work tasks, as I mentioned, usually directing people to do different tasks that I need them to do for my projects. I write books, which you might have already seen my Scandinavian language book. I'll link to that in the description as well. But yeah, I continue to study throughout the day for 15-minute blocks. I'll do other languages, other activities. For example, I've been speaking to AI in German for 15 minutes, and that's a good way to practice my speaking ability with German and to be able to practice different grammatical constructions and get good at just speaking and not just reading texts all the time. So yeah, that's basically it. That is my morning routine. If you want to start your morning routine and you want me to help you out, I'm starting a language learning community. I'm going to link to that in the description as well. If you join now, you'll get in for a lower price, but I'm going to put my masterclass in how to learn a foreign language, as well as I'm going to be active in the community to help you get to fluency and whatever goals you want to get to. I'm going to have guided meditations. I'm going to have special videos just for the community members, and hopefully we'll have lively discussions as well. So I really recommend you join. I'll put the link into the description, so check it out. And yeah, good luck with your studies. Good luck with your morning routine. We'll talk again soon. Thank you so much.